You're ready?
Yep.
Alton, you can start.
Oh, everybody's in. Okay,
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alton. Welcome to our IBC technical product training, presenting Meteocontrol VCOM. So before we start, I'd like to welcome Vedran. Vedran is our client manager from Meteocontrol. Vedran, welcome. So
Hi, everybody.
So Vedran will be answering any questions. And yeah, so Vedran, thank you for being with us today. Let's see, how many people do we have? Okay, I think we can start now. And I think if there's anyone still missing, they can join in between. So let's start with our product, with our training. Can everybody see my screen? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can, just to make sure. Okay, perfect. So I'll start with my training. So IBC, we offer our own IBC modules. We have also Longi modules and Johnnywood modules. These are the only 3 modules that we provide as IBC. And we also do offer Canadian Solar, which is a new brand that we just got into our portfolio. And on the inverter side, we do offer SMA, Fronius, Victron, GoodV, and Attest. And also on the storage side, we have the one and only local battery, Solar MG, and BYD battery. So we're very particular about the products that we keep in our portfolio. And I think as IBC, these products that we have in our portfolio are what reflects IBC to be. We are very particular, and we always make sure that the product that we sell are top quality. And on the accessory side, we do offer Meteocontrol, which is the the main product for the day, which will be providing training. And yeah, let's proceed. So in our team, we have Daniel Heitzler, who's the managing director, with Helga, who's the head of finance and operations. And on the marketing team, we have Zane and Carmen. So on our supply chain and sales administration side, we have Shemaine, Kim, and Michaela, Tanya, and our accounting, we have our financial accountant, Hamu. Now on the sales manager side, this is very important for everyone to know. So if you are located in the inlands, probably Joburg, your sales managers are Leo, Jace, and Jason. So these are sales managers in the inland side, Joburg side, Limpopo side, and Mpumalanga side. And then on the Cape Town side, we have David and Bridar. So they service the more coastal areas, your Western Cape, your KZN. So this will be your sales managers. And we have Carl as the product and commercial sales manager, who also at the moment works with the international sales. So if you are in a client from Zim, Carl will be your sales manager, and he's the right person to deal with. On the technical team in Joburg, we have Vessel, who heads the technical department that side. And here in Cape Town, we have myself, Juanse, and Jam on the technical team. So on IBC online portal, this is we do provide online portal training every second week of the month. So please do go online and register, and then you'll be able to join our online portal training every week. And at the moment, we do have an IBC special for February, the Love Month. So you receive 2% off. So you just have to use Love Fronius at your checkout, and you will receive 2% on all Fronius inverters. But this is only applicable if you do the purchase online. So do not contact your sales manager, but do place the order online, and make sure that you put your coupon code, or else you lose out on a great deal, and you should get your 2% off on checkout. And that is it on the IBC side. So I will be starting the whole training, the Meteocontrol training. And if you do have questions, please feel free to drop your questions on the chat. So you will not have access to communicate with us, but the only means of communication will be via the chat group. So please feel free to drop your questions on the chat group, and Vedran will be there to see if he can answer any questions. And if we don't get back to your questions by today, please also leave your email. Someone will come back to answer your questions via email. And if you are not registered, just something else on the side, if you are not registered with IBC as a premium client, please feel free to drop your email, and Zane will make sure that you receive a checklist to fill in your company details, and we can get you registered and have access to our portal. And just another thing, we will be at the solar show in Joburg, hall number 3. So please feel free to join us at that time. We will have Vedran also there to answer to any questions that will be available. Okay. Just want to check in. Everybody hear me perfectly well? Is everything fine? Okay, perfect. Okay. So we will begin with our training in the next few seconds.
During Alton is preparing the training and showing you in the next few moments the VCOM, a very, very brief introduction from my end. Alton already explained to you guys, I am Vedran, I am the sales manager and in contact with IBC and will support today's trainings if some specific questions came up. Meteocontrol and IBC are looking to a more than 20 year of good partnership, and we are really proud having IBC with our customers and working very successfully together with IBC. And now we are looking to this next step, offering with IBC the VCOM cloud solution to you guys. And as mentioned, if you have any questions, come back to IBC, or I'm really glad and looking forward to see you next month in Joburg.
Oh, thank you, Vedran. So let us begin with the training. Okay, so today I'll be tackling what is Meteocontrol, hardware training, license offerings, and VCOM, just the basics. So this is what I want to cover today, just to get everybody the knowledge of what VCOM is and what Meteocontrol offers. So Meteocontrol are one of the top leading developers and providers for independent monitoring and control solutions, especially on the utility, commercial, and industrial projects. So Meteocontrol is about 40 years of experience in the solar industry, and I think their experience in that brings in the proper solution for each and every client's need for solar plants. So on the hardware training, we do have on your BlueLog, the X series, you do have the XM and the XC. So the XM is your monitoring, and then the XC is your control. So you do have your XM200 to your XM utility. So at IBC, if you go to your web shop, you will see that we do have available XM200 all the way to XM5000. But if you do inquire into something larger, we can assist in that. So that's the difference between your XM and your XC. These are the two devices that I'll be only looking at, just to give you an understanding of what Meteocontrol is with their BlueLogs and VCOM. So inside the BlueLog X series. So inside the BlueLog X series, if you can see my picture there, this is the connection points that you can get. You have your, sorry, screen went out. So you have your digital inputs, which is on number 1, number 2, that's where you have your CAN ports, your reset, your digital outputs, your Ethernet port. And I'll just touch a little bit on these connection points. So if you look at your number 6, that's your Ethernet port. So the BlueLog can be integrated into a local network using a patch cable. So once there's internet connection, you can establish and access the device via the network. And then if you look at your RS485, we have, sorry. So if you look there, you have your RS485, 1 and 2. So you only have 2 RS485 interfaces to connect bus devices. So what happens is you can connect your inverters, your energy meters, your string monitoring, your power analyzers. So, and sensors and meters can be queried together to communicate via Modbus on this. If you want to extend, we do have MX modules, but this is something that if you do want to inquire on, you can just drop us a text or drop an email to your sales managers, and we'll provide assistance on that. So each RS-485 interface, especially, I just want to touch on this because it's very important. Each RS-485 interface supports only one single protocol, for example, Modbus. So you can have different manufacturers on one RS-485. However, it's not something that we could recommend because it reduces the performance and quality of monitoring and power control functions. And then on your power input, you need at least a 24-volt supply. We do offer that also on our web shop. So please feel free, if you do need a blue log, you can always just also request a power supply for that, just to make sure that you have the minimum requirement for our blue logs. So that's the basic introduction on the hardware side. And just another thing to note, on the digital input side, this is places where you can connect your let's say you want to control your generator, for instance. You can have that integrated, not really control your generator, but to give the blue log a power control analysis to say that if this is normally open, please, for instance, feed back to the grid or don't feed back to the grid. So there's many things you can do with the digital inputs, or this is either analog or digital outputs. And then we can proceed. So at IBC, this is the main important part that I think everybody needs to also pay attention to. IBC, late last year, I think that was November, we started offering Meteocontrol VCOM licenses. So we offer 1- and 5-year licenses only. So if you go to your web shop, you will be able to find these licenses. If you do struggle finding this, just feel free to then go to your sales manager to assist you in maneuvering around our web shop to find the licenses. So we offer 20 to 99 kilowatt peak, monitoring for 5 years, 100 to 500 kilowatt peak for 5 years, 500 to 1,000 for 5 years, 1,000 to 1,500 for 5 years, and from 1.5 gigawatt for 5 years, which is also the same on the 1-year side in terms of kilowatt peak. Okay, so now what I'll do now is I will then go to our VCOM just to show you what to expect when you have a license. I'm not sure if any of you ever purchased a license before from Meteocontrol or from us, but I will show you what VCOM looks like. Just give me a moment as I open my VCOM. Okay. It's just loading on my side. I think I might have network issues. It's just loading. Just bear with me. Taking longer than expected.
Are you already logged in Alton in one of the other tabs, maybe?
Yeah, let's close that.
Because as I can see, there are some tabs where you already logged in VCOM.
Might be some few Okay, there we go. It's loading now. Okay, so basically what you'll get when you have your VCOM account registered with us or Meteocontrol will look somewhat like this. So for instance, this is our demo. So I'll be able to show you what you can expect. Okay.
Also, maybe I can
Okay.
just add a few general information about
Yeah.
the VCOM here in the beginning before we
Yeah.
are looking really at some specific functionality this software, this cloud solution is offering to you. First of all, when purchasing VCOM or when you are defining or deciding I want to use VCOM, then you can expect a very professional online monitoring platform for your PV systems. PV system not only, also for PV plus battery system if necessary. You can get all the data from your hardware on site transferred to this cloud solution here, and then you have a lot of opportunities and functionalities Alton will show you. So this is the main and brief definition of what VCOM is capable for. I'm not sure if everybody of you know what VCOM is standing for, but VCOM is an abbreviation for Virtual Control Room, and I think especially this designation is explaining what this cloud solution is doing.
Okay, thank you, Vedran. So basically what you see here on your cockpit will be this information here. So this information first, prior to having your VCOM account, having access to your VCOM account, first initial part will be to then provide IBC the information that's needed so that we can put the plant online. So this is the most crucial part, because if you don't give us the right information, you will have wrong information on your plant, which might lead you to wrong misinformation from meter controls, smart alarms, or calculations. So it's very important that you do provide the right information in terms of location, the PV inverters being used. It's very important that every information is provided for. So if you see here, this is a commissioning, for example, on your system profile. You will see, for example, it's summarized to say commissioning was on the 7th of Feb, 2024. We have 10 SunGrow inverters and 3,600 times in these solar modules. So another thing to also point out, so this is what you'll see. You'll see your, let's go there. This you see simulation. This is like simulation. You also see the energy. And the nice thing about here, which is, so I just want to point out, is the power flow. So you are able to like summarize and put in calculations that you see how much you're producing from the sun, how much you're taking from the grid, and how much the household is actually taking. So in this case, at this moment, we see 239 kilowatt coming from your solar panels or your inverters, and 239 from your grid. So this is AC. So this is what you can find on your cockpit information. You can always edit it. You can always go back. So this is just like a brief overlay of what your cockpit will look like. This is something that you can change based on your needs at the time. And yeah, that is just, yeah, that's it. This is just basically information that you can see. And then now you can go to your next one, which is evaluation. Okay. So this is still on this plant that we have here, evaluation. You can see from your system side, you can see energy generation. So at the moment we do see, okay, we are getting a bit of generation there. Okay, I'll just start with today. So you see from 8 o'clock, like, okay, maybe that's when the sun is coming up. Now you see a bit of production there, which is great. And you can always go back to see information as far back as you want. And then you can see here the power and the irradiance. You can also go back, scroll down to see your solar power. So there's a lot of information. You just need to scroll through, just see what you're looking for. And if you're not sure if you can find it, you can always email us to say, hi guys, I'm looking for this. Where can I find it on VCOM? So here's your solar power. It was on this date. You can go back to whichever date you want in particular. And let's say, for instance, I want from on the 13th, then I can get my power. I see my power there, and then my target range. Now, the target value of this is actually calculated based on the target ratio performance that you've entered, which is something that I'll probably show you after. It's just a little bit more in depth, but then this is all calculation on your target range. And then this is the actual power that you get. For instance, on this side, let's look at any time. So you'll see that your power is 68.5 kilowatt, and then your target range was, based on your calculations, 86.88 to 106.19 kilowatts. Then you can see your variance analysis, yield forecast. This is all information that you can get on VCOM. I will not be going into depth on each and every one, but then just to scroll through, just to show you what you can actually find. Those who are interested in heat map inverters, you can actually find it here. I know there are a few people who actually found this very interesting. So if you do want your heat map inverter to see your power AC, this is something that also VCOM does offer. Then you have your loss breakdown. So you'll have your yield forecast against your difference yield forecast. This is all simulation. This is all meter control calculations that it does internally. So it's a very smart way for operation and maintenance managers to give you a fast analysis on what's happening on your site. And let's see performance ratio. It goes on, and then you can see
Maybe I can add just something here at the performance ratios. For most of you sitting right now at in front of your screen and looking at the VCOM and thinking about monitoring your system, I think especially the KPIs are very important to you guys to evaluate how good or maybe bad my system is running. And especially these different KPIs are most important values to you. So if you need performance ratio, system availability, this all can be calculated by VCOM. If you have some specific formula to implement in VCOM, get in contact with IBC to double check how we can set up this PR calculation for you, as this is at the moment a standard formula what we are operating with according to the industry standards here. So this is pretty important to you. You can also later on, Alton will share, also exclude some specific events. For example, if you have maintenance on site and you know you have now to curtail your inverters and turn them off, that these events are not calculated and considered in your PR calculations. So everything about the KPIs, the calculations are possible in VCOM. And on second small hint, Alton, and then you can move on. You will see when you're using VCOM that we are mostly working in VCOM with aggregated values, 5 or 15-minute values. But if you really need for some specific analysis for the current day, so for example, today, I want really to have a more detailed look at the system, what is going on. For some specific charge in combination with the blue lock, if the blue lock is installed on site, we are also offering to you minute values in the VCOM so that you have a more detailed look at your values. But by default, we are aggregating the values to 5 and 15 minutes. But again, if you need 1 minute values for some specific charge, these values are available.
Okay, thank you on that. And just veteran, just to confirm there, if they want the 1 minute values, that does come at an extra cost for that. So by default,
this is included. This is included. The only prerequisite here at the moment, because we are open for each hardware on site what's installed. Of course, if you have the blue lock, and this would be at the moment the prerequisite to be installed on site, then we can offer you this 1 minute value in the VCOM. We are working for other third-party systems because we know not everybody of you is working with the blue lock at the moment on your system. I would be happy if this changes in the future, but let's be realistic. There are a lot of other manufacturers for monitoring devices, and if you want to work with another manufacturer due to reason, we are also able to get the data from this manufacturer into our platform. But for these other manufacturers, 1 minute values are not available yet.
Okay, thank you for that, Vedran. And then now we'll look at the inverter. So without having to go to site, you can see per inverter the sum of your kilowatt hours. So if you see here, if you we have in this case 10 inverters. So inverter 1, we can see that the sum was about 1.5 megawatt hours. The other one was 1.3 megawatt hours. So these are values that you can find on your on VCOM. So it offers you limitless information that you can get without having to log into the inverter itself. So everything is transferred from your inverters into the blue log, in which you can then also access it on VCOM. For instance, if you want to see your AC power, you can then go there, like, okay, at 8 o'clock, I see it goes up. You can see per inverter, the kilowatts, all the way up, down until 5 o'clock. So you see, okay, during that time, there was sun, and then 5 o'clock, okay, the sun seems to be setting, so it makes sense. So you are able to see the production of your panel, the production of your inverters. And this is like information that you can get free on VCOM. There's limitless information that you can find, which we will not be able to go through on this training. But this is just to show you where to go to find this information. From your AC power to your DC power to your frequency, everything is available there. And then in radiance, maybe I can just touch a little bit on that. So you have your satellite data, and you also have your radiance. So if you have a Meteocontrol radiance sensor, your information will pop up here. Or if you do not have a radiance sensor, Meteocontrol automatically, if you gave the right information during the whole registration, will then work based on your location to give you like your satellite data. And then we can go on further to monitoring. Okay, okay. Okay, perfect. So this is like you'll get on your monitoring, you can have your alarm overview. Just also to mention, this is not the only thing that you can have here. You can add whatever you want, but in this case, this is what we have. So you can have your alarm overview, what you see, okay, what happened yesterday? Did I have any alarms? The last 7 days, oh, last year, there's nothing. So okay, this side is perfect. So there's no alarms. But then you are able to see the alarms that have popped up on your site, and also try to mitigate those alarms to say, okay, we need to come up with a solution, and then the operation and maintenance team, for instance, can then work around that. And this is again your heat map inverter, which is something people like. And if you want to make use of this for whatever reason it may be, you do have it on VCOM. And then here we see your energy generation. So this the energy generation. It started around 7:55. So we see, okay, the sun is coming up. So all this information is available. Okay, so on this document side, I'm not gonna explain too much on it. This is where you can store your information. Whatever information you need, you can store it here. It's just a perk that Meteocontrol has. So if you want to store your SLDs or your weekly reports, whatever it is that you want to store, which is related to the site, you can actually store it here.
Just one additional information to the documents here. I prepared something because we will talk later on also about a very powerful feature in the VCOM, as is the reporting feature. Creating the reports for maybe your customers, your investors of the system, so that they can see, okay, what was my weekly or monthly report about the system, was my yield, what was my losses, what happens in the systems. And in this section here, you also have an option to create very customized reports. The only prerequisite here is that you need an ODT draft. And if you, Alton, click here on the right-hand side where the reports is, and I added a weekly report. You can see I just prepared it today in the morning and download it, so that on the right-hand side, please, the right column here, reports,
Report, yeah.
Completely on the right-hand side, weekly report. There,
there.
and there you can download it. And it's just a dummy template. You can download this dummy template also in our FAQ section. We are preparing this for you as a customer, and maybe you can download this, Alton, that we have just a quick look at how such a report can look like, because we have two ways of creating reports. One, where Meteocontrol is supporting you with the format of the report and with the values. And this is the other way where you can really individualize your report. Just to have a look how this could look like as soon as everything is prepared and uploaded. And let's just have a look at this first pages. You have the starting page, the first page, and then here charts and the tables of your values you want to be displayed in the report. So keep in mind, reporting topic is a huge topic. If you need reports for your customers, this is possible to be created directly out of VCOM without any additional programming.
Yeah, no, thanks you, Vedran. And then just another thing, I'm sure, can we change the logo there to put in the client's own company?
Yes.
Company
As this is an example
Perfect.
draft, I admit I forgot to change the logo here to the IBC logo, but you have full customization here in this reports.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you. And I'm sure that's helpful for everyone who wants to do reports. And I mean, it looks very professional. This is something that your clients and your investors will be happy to see. It's very detailed, energy production, specific yield. It's just perfect. It's perfect. I think it'll be great, especially for investors who want to see their returns on their plant, which is now something that we're going into. So this view is only for investors. And I think for each and every installer, if you do have an investor, so during your form, when you fill in, you can always also mention that we have an investor, here's an investor. So we always make sure that we allocate the investor with the right email. And then what the investor will then see will be this. He doesn't have to see everything on the back end, but just needs to see the most important information here, which is your yield, your specific yield, okay, which was last year, the yield forecast, your lost yield, which is something that Vedran just mentioned. So all of this information is available here. This is only for investor view. So they see what they just need to see, nothing else on, your technical stuff. So as you can see here, this is most of the stuff that Vedran mentioned, your production, your lost yield, your specific yield, and yield forecast. Yeah. And then we can go to the smart alarms, which is also another big topic. So just opening it up now. So your smart alarms require a data of 2 weeks for them to actually start working as they should. So just like after 2 weeks, the information that's coming in, then your smart alarms are basically AI. Based on your site information that you've provided, it then calculates and gives you alarms to say, okay, for instance, we can say production losses. And then in this case, we can look at, for instance, the inverter total outage. So this is another smart alarm. It's critical. And then you see, okay, affected devices. This is inverter number 1.4, which is what we renamed it here. So what you can do with this smart alarms, you can then take it and create a ticket with it. So there we go. So you can create a ticket because you see an alarm and you want somebody to work on the ticket. And let's say, for instance, we call it operations and maintenance inspection, just for argument's sake. And then you write the description, loss in PV, just for argument's sake, and then you create the ticket. Because you want then someone to work on whatever this alarm is that you've gotten from your site. And then once that's done, okay, here it is. And then you can go into it, put more information. So this gives you more of a very organized admin side of things to work on your site. And I think it's a very great tool because everything is on VCOM. You create tickets, everything is available for you to download. So we can just go there and open it up. Is it open? Yeah, perfect. And then we just edit it, right click, and then just to edit. So here's our ticket with the ticket number assigned, perfect system to work on. And then now you can just go on now to say outage information. This is like information you can put like full duration all this information you can just put. And then just another thing that I just want to focus on is assigning. So you can actually assign a person if there's like a ticket and you're like, okay, I need to assign somebody to look into this and sort it out. So in this case, you can click, you can also on your priority, whether is it low, normal, or high. Let's say in this case, we say it's urgent and we want somebody to look at it. So all the people who have access to your VCOM, especially your electricians, you can then assign a person. In this case, there's only myself. This is a demo. Then I can assign this to myself, and then technician deployed or not. If you have a service partner, you can do that, and then you can just select. Everything is all in there for you to put in, and then you can integrate this into your operation and maintenance team. And
especially what Alton is showing and presenting here to you guys. This is one of this professional part I was talking in the beginning of having an O&M software solution here. So you will provide it with a completely and fully ticketing system where with these processes and steps Alton just showed to you, getting alarm, analyzing an alarm, is this really an alarm where I now have to be active, where some kind of to-do is waiting for me. Of course, Alton will show you later on, you have the possibility to determine and define your alarms about the severity. So what is a critical alarm for me when I want to be notified about the alarm? So is it due to some threshold values and then you will receive the alarm? And this ticketing system is especially here 111 main part of the VCOM where you can work in your ticket, where you can also exclude. You can see that it's just right open in the outage information where you can exclude this events for the PR calculation, on the availability calculation. And later on, such tickets can be also displayed in the report. So you can also create a report about your tickets, how many tickets we have worked on, for example, this month, this week, what has happened at the system, and then this can be also reported. What we can also do in a later stage, because now we are working here in this ticketing system, getting the alarm, preparing a ticket. There's also an add-on module, if you're interested, where you can really send a work order to the technician who is available for the system on site. So if you know there's an inverter outage, and you know based on the analysis here and the detection you have done in VCOM, the inverter is broken, you have to replace the worker, you really can create a digitalized work order from VCOM to your technician on site. He gets this work order on the smartphone or the tablet, sees, okay, what are the to-dos, what I have to do on site, what is the scope I have to fulfill, can accept this order, gets already the reports and the instruction for the system, can accept this, and this will be then done and also played back into the VCOM. So this is also an add-on options, what we are not having a look today at. But if you're also interested in this, please approach Alton and the sales colleagues. We can also set up for you this feature, and it's called VCOM CMMS, and CMMS stands for Computerized Management Maintenance System. This is exactly what I just explained to you. What is the topic about? So if you're interested, approach us, and then we can have a look if this is also interesting for you to boost your maintenance service.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Vedran. Let's just see. Okay, I just need to switch off this. Apologies. Okay. Okay, then now we can proceed. So that's the ticketing system. There's so many things that you can do with the ticketing system. And I think what Vedran just mentioned, the CMS is a very good tool to have. So if you actually do need that and you have a lot of meter control sites, and like this is going to be a fast way for our operation and maintenance team to work on systems, you can fault find via VCOM and then just assign everything to your technician to go to site and then have a look at it. And then let's go to okay, if you do ever need any more questions on the smart alarms, please feel free to email IBC at info@ibc-solar.co.za. So now let's look at the power control. Wait. So here we are on power control. Okay, so basically there's your power flow. Perfect, great. And then here's your grid source. You can see your set point values at 100%. I think what else do I need to mention here? Not much to mention here, but then especially for this site, but I will then, if you do have any questions, just feel free to drop me a text. But basically what you can work on when the control status that you can see here, the control status can guide you, especially in the South African market or the African market, where we have a lot of integration with generators and we have two sources of supply. What this control status can help you with is to make sure that you see that your system or your meter control is behaving as it should. When the grid is available, you'll see your grid source change or your valid set point change to, for instance, whatever you have set for that specific site. So there is no, this is how it needs to be like, but then this is always per specific site. So I do not want to say this is, you need to then set 10% or 30% on the generator. This is always per site that you need to work on, but then the control status shows you what your meter control is doing to your inverters and how and what set point is currently at. So let's say, for instance, we were currently at the grid was available, then this will be 100%, or you don't want to feed back to the grid, it will be at minus 100%, just like a simple example. But if you want more questions on this, I can always explain based on your specific site. And then let's, yeah. Do you want to add something, Bertrand, to that?
No, I'll move on.
Okay.
I will add afterwards. It's fine.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is another thing that you can add to your.
Then maybe now. Sorry. Then I wasn't aware about that you're finishing this topic. Two more hints for you, because I'm not sure how your current situation, your system is. Are you grid connected? Are you tide connected or not? But mostly you are grid connected with your systems, and you have also to respect the requirements, but from your grid operator, from your responsible grid operator here. And I'm talking a little bit about more the European market and the German market here. And there are a lot of curtailments by the grid operator. And all these curtailments has to be tracked, and you have to calculate your losses, and you have to double check, okay, how these curtailments are affecting now my revenue here for my systems. And you can see in the middle portlets, so these small boxes we are calling portlets in VCOM, your control history. And you see now here, okay, there were some regulation ongoing or curtailment ongoing here in the last week. This is everything simulated here. Just to be clear, this is a very simulated system. This is not a real physical system, what we are showing here. So therefore, the values are looking sometimes a little bit crazy when you have a look at the PR ratio. It was very low because it's a simulated system. And if you have power control losses, and I think this is the hugest benefit here for you working with VCOM, the system detects this losses due to power curtailment, due to power control events automatically. And as soon as this event is detected, you will get here this notification. And Alton already opened this notification. I prepared this also before the meeting here. As soon as this event happens, you have now the opportunity or the possibility to calculate these losses. Maybe, Alton, you can just open the drop-down menu here with the calculation model that we can see here. You're already the ticket details, just open the here, right? So there are several calculations methods you can use to calculate your losses. There's extra documentation on that where you can really see, okay, what is meant by reference system. But I mean, reference system is the most easiest way to understand the calculation method, what is meant by reference system. You're just looking, is there another system near my system or nearby my system where I can just grab the values there and then compare to my system what I had to expect. For this system, I use the linear equation method, and you see then the result for exactly this duration, this time I had this loss, and you can see, and I just have to look at the screen, it's around about 315 kilowatt hours what are missing due to this curtailment. And then I have a remuneration from about, what is it here, 420 ZAR. And you can enter also your remuneration value and everything in VCOM, and then this is calculated. And if you can please close Alton here this ticket detail so that we can see again the dashboard for the power control. You can see now in the upper right portlet, this control indicator portlet. There you will get then the total sum and an overview how high my calculated or how high were my calculated losses, what was the financial effect of these losses, and you can also see here some indicators how long the curtailments, or how long they last, the duration of the curtailments, and how often power curtailments have happened in 2024, because this is now the time range we've selected here. This is really powerful tool here, really powerful overview for you to really have a good idea of what is happening on your system from grid side, so how many power curtailments are going on. One last hint about the power control values. Maybe you can jump back, Alton, please, into the evaluation section, because this is something we didn't show you in the beginning in the tab evaluation. Thank you very much. And you can also have a look here in the power control section. Please open the active power chart here. And it would be great if you go back 1 or 2 days where we can really see such a behavior. I think it was 1 day more. I'm not sure. Let's go back where we really have this. I think it was on 7th of February. Maybe you can click here in the right upper calendar. It's also a way to choose the date. Then you do not have to go back. More right there, you have the calendar. Choose please the 7th of February. Okay, now you can click here on the 7th of February. Perfect. So you can see there are different time ranges where you can select here. If you Alton just can please click on the 7th of February so that we can open this, and then go back to the day view.
So the 7th Feb 2024. There it is.
Yeah, and then on the day view, because you just switch to the monthly view. On the right upper corner, yeah, they have your yes, perfect. And then the 7th. So this is what I want to show you. So you can really see in this chart, not only in this power control tab where we few moments ago were before, and you saw this control history, but you can really see here, okay, when this happened, and then you have also the curves and the graphs and the chart when the curtailment was done. And in this example, you can see we had 2 steps of curtailment. The first step was to, I think it's 30% here, where we have to control the curtailment. The right graph is the active power, and you can see with the curtailment, of course, also my system production was reduced. And in this chart, we have really all the historical and archive data from all the regulations which was made before on your system. So again, I think this is also a very interesting topic for you to track the power control behaviors on the system and how this affects on your losses, on your financial numbers and figures. That's it from my end for the moment, Alton.
Yeah, thank you. Then let's go back now. So we have seen the power control side. Okay, let's go back. So I think, yeah, that's a very helpful tool. Maybe sometime when that is, I mean, currently in the South African market is a little bit difficult, but I think it is a very good tool to have for future as we see the solar market in South Africa growing. With the grid also suppliers are getting involved. So let's then see. So on this one, you can add in whatever you want. Let's say, for instance, I open up there, the portlet center. So you can decide to say, okay, what do I need to have on my dashboard? So this is up to you, or yeah, dashboard. So this is up to you. You can add whatever you want there. Let's say, for instance, okay, we have a new one here, digital signals. So Meteocontrol are always upgrading and always growing their VCOM software with much more capabilities to do endless things. And as you can see now, we have a new digital input portlet, so we can go for that and add it, or we can add alarms as well. And I just want to show you guys. So this can then be on your dashboard, and you can arrange it as you see fit. So this is the information that we last saw on your alarms. So you are able to add in whatever you want to see. This is up to you to decide, what do I want to have when I open my vehicle? So that's how you can add in more dashboard or add more portlets to your dashboard. And we can then delete. Is your digital inputs. At the moment, I do not think that this site has any digital signals, so we won't see any data there. Stay. Okay. And I think on this part, okay, let's go to, on this part, we are done. And then we can now move over to the next part. Just loading. Okay, there we go. So this is the most important part. We see the system data. This is all the information that will be put in on the initial registration of your VCOM. So it's always important to have this available to give to whoever does the installation, in this case, the whole VCOM allocation, in this case, which will be IBC. So always, we will send you a form. Just make sure you always put in the necessary information there. So actually, let me just start from system. Just taking a bit of time to load. Okay, so this will basically be the system configuration. All the pictures will be put in. In this case, you see the site data, plant photos, which is something that you see there. So this is when we fill in the information, the technical data, everything will be in there. Monitoring, there we go. So all of this has to be ticked, and then you know that every information has been put in. And then let's see, I think we do have a question here, but then I think we can attend to the questions at the end. Okay. So for installers, just something to note. So what happens is, per site, somebody is allocated as an operator, electrician, owner, invoice recipient, and monitoring. So in this case, all our installers, if you are like our partners, what happens is, when you come and register with us, we put you up as an operator and also an electrician. And then we put the owner of the site in this allocated here. So let's say, for instance, let me show you. We will then allocate, for instance, myself as the owner, and the person will be the recipient. When your contract ends, you will then receive an email to say your contract is ending a month before. Please contact your supplier, which will be IBC, to renew your contract. So just a little bit of side information. As an operator, you can do changes, you can do whatever you want. This is where we put in you as an electrician to have control over your site once the VCOM has been allocated to you. So data sources, this is where, for instance, VCOM does not only work with Meteocontrol. This is something I just want to mention, but only for today, our focus is the blue log, the Meteocontrol blue log. In this case, you can see here there's an EMU log, and then there's the hardware. But however, I cannot log into it in this case. But then I will show you from a different side how to actually access a blue log remotely. So you can see here, if you do a scroll down, these are the data logger devices that you can actually put up, which are compatible with VCOM. All this information is available online if you go to Meteocontrol's website to see what is actually compatible with Meteocontrol, or VCOM in this case. Okay. And then on the monitoring side, this is the alarm side. So these are the alarms. So if you have to enable this to see your alarms. So as you can see here, these are the alarms. Everything has been enabled, your total outage, misproduction, communication loss alarms, sensor alarms, string alarms, everything is there and it has been enabled. So you will then be able to also define the alarms based on your prerequisites. So this is entirely up to you. Let's see here. Let's go back to alarms. There it is. Okay. So this is all basically up to you. You enable your alarms and then you can then set your target source calculation. So machine learning is basically AI, which takes about 2 weeks for the VCOM or Meteor VCOM to actually have an understanding of what your site should work like. And then based on that, it then does its own alarm calculations. So your machine learning is also your AI learning. And then your physical simulation, Vedran, if you can just help in those physical simulation and inverter comparison, that'll be great.
Yeah, there are different kinds of databases how to calculate this alarming. Maybe you can remember Alton said when we had a look at the smart alarms that VCOM needs approximately 2 weeks to understand the behavior of the system if you want to work with this machine learning simulation. Let me bring an example here up. For instance, you have your solar system, ground-mounted system, and you have bushes or trees nearby the system, and you know each morning between 8 and 10 a.m. you have a shadowing and shadow event on your PV modules. And of course, for these modules, for these strings, the power is much less than for the remaining part of the system. In the first 2 weeks, you will get an alarm for this event because for this inverter the power AC power is reduced and the system will see, okay, there is something wrong with the system. But you as the technician, as the O&M manager, know this is due to the shadowing event. After 2 weeks, VCOM is understanding and sees this is a typical behavior of the system. So that means 40 days in a row, I had the same event. So that means this is a specific behavior of the system. So from day 15, 16, you will not get this alarm anymore because VCOM understands this is due to a specific situation of the system. And that's meant by machine learning simulation, understanding the behaviors, understanding the specificalities of your system so that you really are notified by the alarms which you have to consider. The other both calculation methods are pretty easy to explain. The physical simulation in the end is based on the physical data of your system. Therefore, Alton mentioned in the beginning, it's very important to get the proper information about your system. So what is the orientation of the modules? What is the inclination and so on? Because based on these values, based on the inverters and modules are used, we are simulating the yields and the forecast for your system, and based on this, you will get also the alarming. And last but not least, there's inverter comparison. We can also just take the different inverters of your system, normalize them, and based on this normalization, we can detect as soon as an inverter is falling down in the performance, we can notify you about this event. So these are the 3 events. If you click here on the information symbol at a lot of points in VCOM, there are the small I buttons, these information boxes where you can find additional information about such settings. And we also have a huge FAQ section online. I hope Alton will share you afterwards the links to this FAQ section where you find documentation, more explanations, example, how smart alarms and how these settings looks like and work.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I will share the link. We'll drop the link just at the end of the training, and then we can also attend to questions that are in the meeting chat. but I see you're already answering to the questions, so that's great. Thanks, Vedran. Okay, so this, okay, we can pause this for now. Administration. Okay, so now with the smart alarms done, I can then move on to show you how VCOM then accesses our blue log on site. This is remote monitoring and remote control. So in this case, I will then log into another different site and then just show you guys how to actually access the site. Just give me a few seconds while I get this up. Okay. Okay, so here we are. So basically we have a test bench here at our service center. Just loading this. Okay, let's try this. Just taking a little time to load on my side. Okay, let's try to log in again.
During the time Alton is showing you here the test bench, maybe and some more input about the VCOM and about the UI, UX, so the user interface, how you can work. You have seen that we are working in these tabs. You have this control room, you have this administration value, but especially these different tabs where we went through monitoring, smart alarms, power control tabs. This are default dashboards. So this is a recommendation from Meteocontrol. You can work with this setup here, but you can change and add different portlets and really create your own tabs according to your needs. Maybe when we jump later back in VCOM, Alton can show you this portlet center, because there's a lot of more to evaluate there and to discover there. One part, because this was asked here in the chat, was the BSSS and the BESS integration, so battery systems in VCOM. We already have a monitoring part for battery and storage systems in the VCOM. We didn't knew that this would be also an interesting topic for today, because then we would also prepare something to show you this. I will show you this gladly in Joburg when we can meet next month. So then I will prepare something for that. But you can already now, when you use VCOM, add the specific portlets for battery monitoring. How this works in VCOM? Usually, if you add your data logger, your power controller here as your data source into VCOM, the VCOM is scanning all the different device types from which we are getting the data from. And as soon VCOM is how to say it in English, as soon as the VCOM is detecting a battery device, you will automatically get a new dashboard called battery monitoring. So you have nothing to set up. This is created automatically. Again, sorry that we didn't kept this in mind and prepared this for you today, but I promise at the latest at the show in Joburg, we will give you more insight about the battery monitoring as well in VCOM.
Yeah, thanks, Vedran, and definitely looking forward to the HAMS license. It's definitely something the South African market will accept with open hands. So okay, basically, so now you're moving from your VCOM and you want to go to your blue log, whatever blue log it is, XC200, XM. You can then just go to your site, go to data sources, go to your blue log X series administration. Now, if your blue log is, just something to note, if your blue log has Ethernet connection, the status here will be green. If it doesn't, that means there is no internet connection and somebody on site needs to have a look at it to find out what's happening there. So now we see here, I have my blue log here, it's green. I can then log into it, remote access, and then I just click on that. So that's how you then move from your VCOM to access your blue log on site.
This is, I think, for a lot of you also very, very important, so that you have a direct access from your virtual control room, where you're in the office or maybe on the mobile phone, where you're where you're observing and monitoring your system. And as soon as you want to go more in detail and really have an overview of the system, what is happening on site, you can log directly from VCOM to your blue log on site. Alton will show you what you can find in the VCOM here. Why this is so important? Because we talked in the beginning about the minutes and 5 minutes and 15 minutes values. Sometimes you really need also live data of your system to really determine, okay, do I have to go now on site? What's the matter now with my system? And this is something what you can cover with this direct connection to the Blue Log, because as you can already see here, where Alton is sharing the first screen, on the left-hand side, you will have here the menu, the tab real-time values. And then you can open the blue log, really selecting which real-time values you want to see. And then there's an ongoing curve will be displayed on the blue log about the real-time values. And I think this is a huge benefit for you when you're working with the blue log on-site. This direct connection is only available with the blue log. So if you're working with another manufacturer for power control monitoring solutions, you will not have this benefit. This is really something, the synergy is really between VCOM and our other product, blue log, available to you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Vedran. So as you can see now, I've logged onto my blue log remotely. You can see there, you can see your IP address, everything is there, VCOM, that's my site, alarm monitoring, everything is active. So now the first thing that you'll see is your cockpit. In your cockpit, you have 4 subsections. So let's start with the alarms or state. So let's say, for instance, you have something faulty on site and you just want to see what's been happening for the past 7 days or what happened yesterday. This will be a section where you can say, okay, from the 5th until today, I want to see what is happening. Regardless of whether it's been resolved or not. So you can just click that. Okay, you can see here, okay, what happened? Password, we forgot our password. So there's the error code. But for instance, if there was anything in regards to like maybe the Ethernet dropped or something wrong with an inverter, all this information would be available there. So this is where you see your alarms and your states. And then if you scroll down, if you look at this is where you find your charts. This is the data that you can find. So you can go back to say for the past 7 days. So we had an irradiance sensor connected. So you can see that, okay, sensors available. You can just click on that and see data for the past, for as far back as you can. So as you can see there was data with, okay, I'm looking at, okay, 90 degrees Celsius. So the information is basically all there and you can go back to as far back as you want. Now, the most important part now is the real-time value that Vedran also just mentioned. If you just want to see what's happening at this moment, I want to see it just to see how my system is behaving at that specific moment. You can just click there, then you can just click our radiance sensor. And let's just see if this radiance sensor is actually connected. Oh, actually, it is connected. So you can see, okay, what is measuring at the moment is 90 degrees. We do have a problem with this radiance sensor. But however, you can see, okay, this is the information that you get. Okay, telegrams being transmitted and received, equate, so everything is running. So all this information is real-time data that you can find by just logging onto your Blue Log remotely. And then if you want to see the data there, you can just go back to your logbook just to see what happened on your system. So you can see here, okay, there was loss of Ethernet, connection to VCOM reestablished, failures. Like you can see who's logging in, what's been happening, all that past data, you are able to find it on your logbook. So on the cockpit is done. And then now we can look at the PV plant, I'm just going to briefly go through everything. And then if you have questions, you can just drop your question there. So here we have PV plant. This is the basic data. This is the data that you would have put in during the initial phase of your system. So you can see here's we have an XC1000 there, and there's a serial number. The name of the logger is still the serial number. So you can change this based on what you want to do for your specific site. And then there you'll find your So this is something also that Veteran mentioned. So automatic transmission, okay, this is 5 minutes. You can have it for 1 minute, something that you can just then communicate with IBC, and then we'll be able to assist you in that.
I want an additional hint here. Alton, please go. Yeah, sorry, thank you. Go back. I know in South Africa you have the outages there. There's no communication possible if your system are on site, but most of you guys have a battery and can buffer your system so that at least the technical equipment is running there. But maybe there's communication loss to VCOM due to reason. Happens. I think all of you already experienced that. A very, very nice feature between VCOM in combination with the BlueLock is the following. As soon as an internet connection is lost or the connection between the VCOM and BlueLock is interrupted due to reason, you will not lose your data because the BlueLock will still collect and store the data on itself, on the hardware, on the storage, on the CD cards. And as soon as the BlueLock recognizes that the internet connection is back and the connection to VCOM can be established again, he will re-import all these missing data into the VCOM. So you will not have data gaps in VCOM due to such events. So you are safe if you're working with the VCOM, if you're working with the BlueLock in combination, that you're safe from data outages and we can import the historical data. And this is exactly this last box here where Alton is now sharing the screen historical data. If you're missing maybe some historical data because the gap was too long, let's say, okay, for 2 weeks there was no internet connection, then you can also re-import this data manually, okay? So you have the chance to get every time your data from the BlueLock into the VCOM, and then all the data is there.
Okay, thank you, Vedran. And then, yeah, this is scrolling down. This is more information that you, for instance, the guys who have to use SCADA interface. If you have a PLC, you want to integrate your Meteocontrol. This is something that Meteocontrol can assist in. There's not something that I've looked into yet, but if you do have questions, you can always reach out to us, and then we can always make sure that we get Meteocontrol to assist in the SCADA interface. Because I know that Meteocontrol also offer like a full system, a PPC, which has a full box. So if you want to communicate with, let's say, for instance, the city of Cape Town requires you to have DHCP communication, DNP3 communication with their system because they want to integrate with their grid. We are able to provide you with that solution. So always feel free to contact us. And this is like a special case. So we will be looking at doing the whole full design on our side to provide to you as our client. Alarm and state configuration. Okay. So you can choose 24 hours. Or you can choose to say only between sunrise and sunset. I mean, we're dealing with the solar system, so you can say, okay, I don't really want to see information at night. I just want to see it during the day. So this is up to you to see what do you want to see, and at what time do you want those alarms to be visible. Because, for instance, I would only choose sunrise to sunset because at night nothing happens. But it's all up to you. This is what do you prefer to have, and where would you want to receive the alarms sent via email, which you can put your email there. And then the nice part now is the power control, which I do love the most, especially for the South African market, because now we have a lot of generators. I mean, it's not just only on generators. This is where you set your zero feed in, everything. This is where you set the whole operation of your system.
And at this point, Alton, I would add something here because I saw already a lot of questions regarding BESS and regarding HEMS and PV diesel genset, and I think now it's the moment to give you an update on this. As you can see here, the blue lock provides you already with different methods about the active and reactive power and control. You do not have to program anything. This is everything pre-programmed in the blue lock. You have just to choose to select what is necessary for your system. Of course, this is also possible to be done by IBC, and as a service, you do not have to do it by yourself, but if you're trained enough and you say, yes, I can set it up by myself, this is possible here for the active and reactive power. Talking about active and reactive power at the version you are now looking with the license of the upgraded blue lock, this is at the moment the blue lock for the version of the licenses for PV only. But since last year, Meteocontrol is offering a hybrid controller. It's called HEMS, Hybrid Energy Management System, where we're also considering battery in the power control and PV diesel genset. And yeah, in the summer and in autumn last year, we sat down with IBC and we worked on, I think it was with Kyle, about 7 to 8, 9 use cases you need in South Africa to fulfill power control requirements in combination with PV diesel genset and in brackets also with battery. And there are updates. We have this new HEMS controller. This is pretty easy for you because, and it's also an advantage when working with the blue lock, you do not need new hardware. So if you have a PV system only at the moment and you know I want to operate my power control with the blue lock, you can install the blue lock and start with the PV operation only. And maybe in the next months you decide, no, I want to extend my PV system, want to add battery storage for my system and also PV genset. Then you have this combined system with different types of devices. You can upgrade this software with the same hardware with this HEMS license. So what I want to say you do not need additional hardware just because you are changing your system type from PV only to PV plus BSS. It's only a license upgrade, the so-called HEMS license. What exactly we are capable of, which of these mentioned 7, 8, 9 use cases are we able to provide a solution with? I want to explain you at the show in Joburg, because right now I'm together in the finalization for the event next month so that we can really show you this is what you can do. For now, I can tell you we are already able to integrate PV genset. At the moment, we are restricted to only one genset. Battery, it's independently, so as much as battery you have, this is no problem. But for the genset, it's at the moment only one genset, but stay tuned in a month. There are really huge updates what we can deliver you guys for the South African market with the blue lock, with the HEMS, with the new HEMS controller. So a little bit of more patience, but in a month, feel free to visit us at the IBC booth, also at the Meteocontrol stand directly. We're also there, and then you will get the latest update on this topic.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. So yeah, I just saw that you're okay as we're answering questions. There was Drian D. Clark. Would it be possible to show how to do reactive power control when doing generator integration? So since we're here on this power control, I will work on the active, Drian, just like, I'm not sure if this will work because I don't have all the components, but I'll try to explain as much as possible on that side. So anyway, so the operation data will be there. So I just decided to put in random information there. And then I'll go to my active power. So this is now, okay, let's say this is a PV genset solution. Then I'll just go to my active power. Then this is where, okay, I'll set my information. So a closed loop. But then here, because you have a genset, you'll be using your variables fixed value, DI, because you'll be using a digital input from your blue log to your ATS on your generator side and also from the grid side. And then depending on the number of DIs that you use, I mean, there's endless possibilities on how to actually work this out or design the system. So for instance, let's say I work with only one digital input, or yeah, let's say 2. So now I will then say, okay, I have 2 digital inputs. Okay, perfect. So what happens is depending on whatever it is, whether normally closed or normally open, it doesn't matter. You can use any dry contact. You can say, okay, let's say this here is when the grid is available. Then you can say, okay, and especially with South African market, you don't want to feed back to the grid. So you can always say, okay, put in, for instance, in this case, this is me just designing a value, minus 0. Minus 0. Oh, it doesn't work.
It's 0.
0.5.
It's here the digital input. You
There we
can
go.
directly put it per p-fix, and then you can use the minus value so that you are sure that you're not feeding in. This is your
Yeah.
digital input. For example, you're getting a signal by a device with digital output, digital input to the blue lock, and then according to which digital input is the signal is coming to, you can enter it.
Yeah. Perfect. So on this digital input, let's say this is when the grid is available. Just to be on the safe side, 0.5, minus 0.5. But this varies. Don't take this value as like a standard. You always check. Maybe you have a lot of inductive loads. You can always pick it up. So this is not like, this is how you need to do it. This is best for each and every site. You have to then just work on what works for that specific site. So let's say, for instance, here, I say, okay, wait, if it's normally closed, what do I want to do? Because this is on the generator side. So if, let's say, for instance, your generator has a prerequisite to say, okay, listen, we need you to always maintain a 40% of the generator's capability. So you can always then say, okay, 40% minus 40%. So you always maintain that you take in minus 40% from the generator. But just to bear in mind, the meter control doesn't control the generator, but controls the PV. So it will then work with the PV to throttle it down to make sure that you maintain a 40% from your generator. Then you just click OK. And then you just come here. Always make sure you, is that thing always enable your dynamic anti windup. Just click OK. Activate, set. And that's just it. Easy as it can come. But unfortunately, in this case, I don't have a power and energy meter, so it won't allow me. So you always have to then set your feed in your feed in your feed in energy meter. So in this case, I don't have, so it's not going to allow me to do that. So normally when, okay, dismiss, on your operating data, you will see, still loading. You will see on this section, this is where I would have to select my energy meter to say, okay, I want this energy meter to be my feed-in limit energy meter. But in this case, we don't have an energy meter, but I hope that helps to like, how do I get my system set up with a generator and also a grid? But if you do have a site that you need to commission, please feel free to contact us so we can assist. Maybe just another thing also to mention. I mean, it's not just the generator that we have. So if you just only have, for instance, it's just a grid type. Same scenario. Let's go here, load. So you would then say, okay, you stay there. And then you can set point, that would be 100%. It's 100, no, 0, sorry. You then put it on 0, and then 0 feed in is enabled. And then you just save it. So there's, for each and every scenario, there's a different way of setting up your system, but always feel free to ask if you are not sure and you just want assistance in commissioning the site. So yeah.
I hope this is clear to everybody, because zero feed in is a huge topic in South Africa. And what Alton just did, so opened this small setting button here and entered a 0 at this point. That's everything what you have to do to assure zero feed in operation with the blue lock. There's nothing else. Of course, you have to set up initially the blue lock and prepare everything. Alton will share you how to connect these devices. But from the power control point of view, how to set up this is the only thing you have to do. And this is really an advantage using a blue lock. And if you're comparing maybe blue lock to other solutions in the market, you do not have something to program. You do not have to really go into detail, because it's everything pre-programmed here, and you have just to enter your values you're interested in how to operate for your system. And this was a click and done within 50 seconds here.
Yeah. So if everything is set up right on site, doesn't take that long to commission the site. And then if
as
you
I
want,
have just a question, Alton, sorry, this is maybe a perfect here to explain used open loop and closed loop. I will explain you this very quickly. Closed loop is really having a control loop. So that means we are really regulating the system according what is happening on the grid connection point, what are the meter values, and then we are dynamically setting the inverters. And an open loop means it's, or maybe Daniel, you can help me what's steuering in English, but it's only having still this one set point, and it's really not important what's happening on the set, on the system. We are really just considering and respecting this set point. Yeah, control it's a closed loop control Steuerung. It's okay, but I hope then that this explains to you what is an open loop and a closed loop.
Then if you have any more questions, please feel free to drop a text and we can just give you a brief explanation on that, just write it down for you. But then, yeah, commissioning the site on Meteocontrol, easy, user-friendly. So I'd recommend, if you're not using this, you can just give it a try. If you want support on the first installation, we can gladly provide you the support. And then when you're done, okay, we're not going to save this. The nice thing is now you can actually create a report, which I find is very fascinating and very nice to have, because then you can provide to whomever requests it, even your client, to say, this is what I've set. This is what's going to happen when the grid is available, for instance, or when the generator is available, if it's a PV genset, to say, okay, you're going to maintain, this proves that zero feed-in has been enabled. Generator the requirements for the generator manufacturer has been implemented. So this can actually, you can have a documentation to prove that, which is very nice to have. Like it's very professional and makes you at the end of the day, you as an installer have like a proper presentation of your company using Meteocontrol's accessories.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to download here.
Yeah. This takes a little bit of time. I assume due to the internet connection to the system on site, or I think this is the device in the office. This option Alton is showing right here. This is something where you can download the documentation where all the parameters are set down, and then you can archive it, and you know, okay, this is about my project documentation. But what happens when you have, due to an error, due to a fault, due to an overvoltage event, to exchange the blue log, and now you have to set up everything again? We are offering you, and you again, this is unfortunately we have to assure some synergies between the VCOM and the blue log. If you're working with the blue log on site and have in parallel VCOM in use, as soon as you change a parameter in the blue log, the blue log is sending this configuration file to the VCOM and stores there. That means if you want to reset some settings you have made, and you see, okay, this is not working how I expected, I want now to make my changes back, you can just get this setting configuration file from VCOM, upload it to the blue log, and you will get the settings you have made last week, for example, or the last time you had to do some changes at a blue log. So this is something what is really, really helpful. And this is also possible with another blue log device. The only thing you have to consider, it should be the same device type. So if you have the configuration file of an XC, so of an X control, then it should be also the new type, the new device, also an XC. And so you can, as Ronald just wrote in the chat, and track your changes. You really can see, okay, what's happened on the blue log. And because of tracking changes, there's also logbook on the blue log. So as soon as a user logs into the blue log and made some changes, and then you see afterwards, oh, this is wrong what was made here, you can really identify the login, the user who was able for these changes. So there's no way of, no, I didn't change anything in the blue log. This is really a logbook there where you really can track everything what happens on the blue log. Yeah.
Okay. No, thanks, Bertrand. And I'm just looking at the time now that we definitely went over. We tried to summarize as much as possible, but I mean, there's so much information with Meteor Control. And if you do have any questions, always feel free to just drop it here. I don't think we'll be able to answer all the questions today, but we will then get back to each and everyone. If you can just drop your emails just to answer your questions. Because I see we have just passed it at one time and my laptop just froze.
Oh, okay, this is a
Yeah.
pity, but okay, this is not good. Then I would just give you an last 2 more minutes if we have the time. And would also I can share the screen, right? I can share the screen, as I can see I have the rights. Maybe I will just show you some 2 more details about the blue lock, and then we gladly can close the meeting here. Let me just also log into our test blue lock I have here. And then I want to show you something, because I also mentioned in the chat there were a lot of questions about, okay, which types of devices I can connect to the blue lock, where I can look it up and what's possible. So let me share my screen as well with you guys. And let me see what I can do. And this should be this one here. Just give me a short okay, Alton, if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you should see the blue lock, right? To your interface of the blue lock.
So on my side, my laptop is just crashing on me now at the moment. But you can proceed.
Okay.
I'm sure if somebody can answer,
Okay,
I don't know.
I
Just
see
hit the thumbs up.
Arno and Azane. Perfect. There are some thumbs up, so I hope this works. I hope also the internet connection is good enough, because I'm sitting right now in the hotel here. Let's try it. What I want to show you in the end here, and then we can conclude the training about the devices, what and which devices are able to be connected to the blue lock. There is, if you just Google it, compatibility list Meteocontrol, a document in the web on our homepage where you really, this is really a 700 pager, where you really can scroll down and you can see, okay, with which manufacturers and devices we are able to communicate to get the get the data. You won't find any other manufacturer in the market with such a range of devices and compatibilities like Meteocontrol offers to you. And as you know, at the moment there are a lot of new models, new manufacturers bringing up their new devices, new models. Please keep in mind that such a list is really, really hard to maintain and to keep updated. So if you miss a model, just get in contact with IBC. We can quickly double check if the compatibility to this model is already established. We just have to add this model in the list, or if not, we are able to create this compatibility. We are able to develop a new driver. We will double check with the company, with the manufacturer, the Modbus register list, double check if we can develop a driver. And then the only thing I'm asking you, you have to be a little bit patient, because such a driver development takes a little bit of time, approximately at the moment 8 to 10 weeks until the driver is ready for you, and then you can use. So this means if you work with the blue lock, please check beforehand if the compatibility is given. If not, as soon as possible, contact IBC to clarify the missing compatibility. And last but not least, how this looks like at the blue lock. I'm here now in the section where you can see all these different devices at the blue lock, starting from the most important component at the PV system, the inverters, and ending here with the batteries and also the genset devices here, what we can connect. And what I want really to show you here, and this is also a really, really smart way of displaying your connections and the blue lock. If you went on site and you connected your device to the blue lock, but maybe you forgot to write down, okay, where I connected my devices, I'm not sure anymore what I have connected at which interface. You can open this interface monitor, and then you can really click here, okay, what I connected here at a multi-input 3 of the blue lock, and you will see here, okay, this was my sensor, what I have connected at the blue lock. And so you have also a graphical overview of the blue lock, exactly what Alton presented you in the presentation of the blue lock with the interfaces. You have here this graphical interface where you can see, okay, which and how many devices are connected to the blue lock. And on this, at this point, you have also an overview about the number of devices which are connected. So nothing more to explain, because I know we are over the time, and that's it from the blue lock side. And I'm just looking again in the chat if there is another question, but as I can see, I think all questions are answered. And yeah, thank you from my end so far. Alton, back to you. Are you muted, Alton?
Thanks, Vedran, for that and assisting us in the training. Apologies, everyone. I was I had issues with my laptop, so I just got back now again. I was out for a few seconds. But yeah, Vedran, thanks, and thanks everyone for coming. And please feel free to drop the questions on your chat. And then we will then just come back to you, each and everyone, and then just maybe also give you a call just to explain. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to just start. I see that one of our technical guys actually placed down the service email. So please feel free to pop your questions in there. And if there's any question that hasn't been answered, we will then come back to you with an email. So feel free to also drop your email there. And I see Ronald has a hand up. I'm not sure if there was a question that Ronald asks. Ronald, we don't have access to speak, but then if you can just drop a text on the chat, we will be able to then provide you with answers, hopefully. And yeah, everyone, that is it on our side. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, we can just everybody can log out, or can I have a cup of coffee?
Yeah, thank you again also from my side. It was a pleasure being here supporting the IBC. As you see, IBC and Meteocontrol are really close, and we're trying really to support IBC in a solution. Again, I'm looking forward maybe to seeing some of you guys next month at the fair, at the show in Joburg, and also feel free to come along to our Meteocontrol booth if you have questions. So thank you again. Have a good time today. And as Alton said, after almost 1.5 hours, it's time for a cup of coffee.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, Roland, quickly in the end, you mentioned RS-5 protocol. This is RTU and TCP. Both protocols are possible. So either RTU is possible with the blue lock and Modbus TCP. So it doesn't matter if you connect the devices via RS-5 or via Ethernet, Modbus. Both protocols are spoken. And in the mentioned compatibility list, you really can see for each device which type of communication is possible, if it is Modbus TCP or if it is Modbus RTU. Yeah. And does this support RC2117? Unfortunately, I have to say I'm not sure when you're talking about RC2117 what you're talking about. Maybe this is a question we can clarify afterwards.
Yeah, I'm also not sure on that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I think all questions answered. I'm scrolling back up.
Baud rate. Yeah, you can change baud rates on the blue lock, so this is possible. There are some default settings for the communications, for the communication setting, but baud rates and offsets can be also changed at the blue lock if you need other communication settings. This is possible. Okay.
Okay, I think that's all the questions we have answered. Just having a look just to verify.
No, Ronald, it's not possible. For example, if you're working with Sangro inverters and you need inverter settings, then you have to adjust it directly on the inverter, or via the Sangro logger, for example. We then communicate with the Sangro logger to get all the data. For some inverter manufacturer, we are offering access to the web overview or the web interface of the inverters. If the inverter is connected to Modbus TCP to the block, then you can access the web interface. But this is really limited in our inverter manufacturer lists. But usually it's a no, so inverter settings are still done at the inverter directly.
I see there is a question from Daniel. You showed a drop down menu with billing flat rate or peak. Could you elaborate on this, please?
Already answered, Alton. Already answered.
Okay, perfect,
I tried
perfect.
to keep the answers in time, and
Yeah,
there will be
okay.
documentation afterwards, and then Daniel can have a look and share it with all of you guys if this is necessary.
Yeah, perfect. Let's see how do we integrate. Okay, everything has been answered. I mean, yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, thanks, Vedran. I see everybody's still here, so there's a lot of questions. But yeah, if we'll respond on email, please feel free to drop the questions on the service email, and then one of our technical guys will then respond to it.
Perfect. Okay. Then have a good time and see you maybe next month.
Yeah, cheers.
Goodbye.
Bye.